What is going on? We are back with another episode of Stats Over Politics. This is episode 72, Jaevon. 72. Fun fact for you guys, I saw something on Twitter that the average podcast does not make more than 7 episodes.
Seven? Wow. 72.
Yeah, I was like, damn, that's a small number for sure. But yeah, like I said, this is episode 73. We'll be talking all things in the NBA. We starting off with the Lakers. We talk some OKC topics. We will definitely break down the OG Anunoby, RJ Barrett trade. We got some Sacramento Kings news. I know it's been a while, but we have some Sacramento Kings news. We will be reacting to the first round of All-Star voting and more. So, Jaevon Toddy, how are you doing today, my man?
Doing good, we missed Kev on the last podcast. So we didn't really get the chance to talk about his Eagles. So the people miss you. They miss you. They wanted to get at you foul about the Eagles losing this, that, and the third. They're like, he's dodging us. And we're just like, you know what? Life comes at you fast sometimes. And so sometimes you can't make it. Like Kev said, this is 73. We're on our 73rd episode. And, some podcasts don't make it till 7. So, life happens. Sometimes you just aren't able to make it. But we are here for another NBA podcast. We're trying to get, more consistent on that. But, excited to talk King. We got a pending parlay. We always got pending parlays.
Always.
The other night we hit 2 parlays, 2 3-teamers. or actually 1 3-teamer and then a 2-teamer for like a total of like 700. That was last night. And so we're just trying to build off that. Going to the weekend. Let's do it.
Definitely. And like Jaevon Toddy mentioned, I have been gone for a couple episodes to let the people know I am not a ducker. Toddy knows me, Shaun knows me, and they know I don't duck the smoke. I come on here and I talk my shit. So when I lose, I have to come on here and hear it. As you guys all know, I do have a dog. He strained his ACL getting off the couch, stuck in urgent care for a couple hours. They gave me some medicine for him, some sedatives. So we're rehabbing him back to health, man. We have to. This is my dog. I couldn't imagine life without him. So we had to take all precautions, and I had to sit on the bed and
You've had Blue since you was a kid, right?
Oh no, dude, Blue's 1 year old.
Oh, I'm tripping.
Yeah, Alyssa got me Blue.
Oh, okay.
That's why he's so bad. That's my excuse. As you guys all noticed, last week we have officially had our debut on Instagram Live. We are live on Instagram, now X, and YouTube. So we are everywhere that you guys want to be, and we want to make sure we're giving you guys out that content at a timely manner. So Jaevon, I'm going to swing it to you first. What do you have for this week in the NBA?
This week in the NBA is going to be the Indiana Pacers. These guys have been on a terrible, not even just Indiana, but Tyrese Halliburton has been on a tear. They now won 6 games straight. They're fifth in the East. I believe last year, kind of right before All-Star break or around it, Halliburton had gotten hurt. I think something wrong with his knee, and then they kind of just dropped out of even in the play-in, they dropped out of that. So I always knew that when Halliburton is healthy, this Pacers team could definitely be in the playoff, race, especially in the East. Tonight they hung 150, hung 150 on the Atlanta Hawks, which was pretty insane. And the line for that game particularly was over 260. And the last time they played, they set the record for most points scored in the game, the over. I think the live over was in the previous game was 300 points at one point in time. So a lot of scoring, no defense being played at all in this game. Halliburton didn't really do too much on the offensive side, but he had 18 assists, and he's had multiple 18. So we'll just go back in time for the past couple of games, how many assists that he's had. It's just been insane on how great that he's been playing. But you got to give hats off to, the coaching staff there in Indiana with Rick Carlisle and how he's been able to make that whole kind of thing just work out. And, you're hearing rumors about just guys on the trade block to try and make their team a little bit better. Guys like Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. But I think this unit right now is actually really, really good. And they've been playing very solid over this 6-game stretch. So the Indiana Pacers I'm not saying that they're going to, be a team that's going to be okay, they're going to make the finals. I don't see that happening, but kind of we always go back to the pregame show when we were talking about it. The Indiana Pacers were always a team that I was pretty high on making the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure Tyrese Halliburton can't wait for the postseason to start, because we all kind of know what he was capable of and saw that glimpse here in Sacramento. Ended up getting traded to Indiana, and just for him to be able to play, I wouldn't necessarily say meaningless basketball, but playoff basketball is a whole nother level from, regular season basketball. And we kind of, I guess, saw a glimpse of that in the play-in on, that, win and survive and advance type of mentality. It's kind of the same in the playoffs, but obviously it's not one and done. So I think we'll get to see him in the playoffs. The world's kind of starting to catch on a little bit to him just based off of the numbers that he's been putting up and how well he's been playing. He had 18 assists tonight. What are we talking about, bro? It's insane. So I think he's leading the what's it called? Like all-star vote. So he could be a starter in the all-star game. I'm not saying that that's who I probably would vote for, but it's definitely a high possibility that he could definitely be in the all-star starter category. But kind of just to go over his numbers, I mean, his assist numbers like 18, 12, 11, 23, 20, 10, 15, 14, 13, 11. So those are his last 10 games of assist numbers. And then, as far as points go, like I said, he didn't really attack the ball because they put up so many points tonight, or attack the basket, excuse me. So 10, 31 points, 26, 22, 21, 33, 29, 17, 19, and then 8. So Halliburton is on a different level. There's no doubt in my mind that he's an all-star. I just don't know if he's a starter, but that would be my this week in the NBA is definitely going to be the Indiana Pacers. 6-game win streak. Pretty crazy.
Definitely. Like Jaevon mentioned, we always will refer back to the preseason show. And ladies and gentlemen, the Detroit Pistons ended the 28-game losing streak. So that is my this week in the NBA. The last 5 games, Toddy's breakout player, Cade Cunningham, averaging 28 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists, 2 steals, and a block per game. Shoot 46 from the 3 and 52 from the free throw or from the field. So Cade Cunningham is doing whatever he can. We always refer to the group chat, but I like to when Toddy makes these topics and these not topics, these statements, you scroll through his Twitter and you'll see him up and down. My man is screaming free Cade. And it's crazy to think that everyone really didn't expect him to be this and be that, but like Toddy said, you got to put him in the oven.
Gotta put him in the oven, baby.
And this would have been last year, in my opinion, but he was hurt. So he wasn't able to come out there and show that he was that guy this early on. But you guys see the background. Sacramento Kings. Malik Monk in a double overtime game this week against Orlando Magic with 37 points, 9 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 12 of 20 from the field, and hit 7 threes. But also for this week in the NBA, I have the opposing team. I have Paolo Banchero and Jalen Suggs.
That new boy.
This game with multiple guys not playing. Franz Wagner goes down early. It doesn't matter. We got Paolo Banchero. 43 points, career high, 5 assists, and he hit 6 threes. Jalen Suggs has been a guy who I have been up and down on. He came in at such an early draft pick. You expect him to come in and do things right away. And this game showed that he has the potential. He hit 6 threes and he had 24 points. So Jalen Suggs, if he can continue to play like this when they get their full 5 back and they get healthy, like we have mentioned over and over on the NBA-only episodes, the Orlando Magic can fuck around and make some noise this year. So I always got to make sure I come in here and show them love. But, Toddy, moving on to the next topic. The Lakers are struggling. Can they figure it out? Let me see. They lost their 3-9 over their last 12. Can they figure it out? Or was the NCAA tournament all they had to offer?
It's tough, man, because got like LeBron, your stars are playing well. So like LeBron, he's averaging 25, 7 and 7. AD is averaging 25, about 12 and a half rebounds and 3 blocks a game. So it's not like it's their fault that they're losing. I feel like injuries have kind of riddled the Lakers for pretty much all of their other players. You got D'Lo out. Cam Reddish has been in and out of the lineup. Austin Reeves, his minutes are kind of going all over the place. You paid him, this offseason and not really seeing you're kind of seeing the same of production. You were hoping that he would take a leap, but I feel like you would assume that he should be starting at least. These other guys got to step up. I think there was a night where it was like 3 guys and only 4 points was scored. It was like I saw Gil. He was ranting about. He was like, "Me and you could go out there and get 4 points." So there's a little bit of pressure on Darvin Ham. You're seeing, there was a report that came out that there was like 6 sources that could confirm that things aren't really going too well with Darvin Ham and how people feel about him currently and the state of their franchise. And I think they're up right now on Memphis, but like Kev was saying, over these like past 10 games plus, the Lakers haven't really been playing up to par at that, championship level that we know that they're capable of. And, this was a team that was in the Western Conference Finals last year. I don't know if they were this bad, but I believe at some point in time last year, they were playing like not as good, but they ended up turning it up towards the end. So this isn't something. It's not good that they're like 12th in the West or like 10th or 12th or something like that in the West. That's not where they planned on being, but I think they're probably going to make some trades, some changes at the trade deadline. When you have those two guys, even LeBron at this late of an age, who's 39 years old, he's still able to perform at an all-star caliber level, but he can't play like this 82 games a year. He has to, they're unfortunately, Father Time is kicking in. So he's going to have to be able to take nights off and rely on guys like AD. Who AD is, he's been healthy for the majority of the season. He hasn't really been street clothes, as Charles Barkley likes to call him. He's been playing one hell of a year, definitely an all-star starter, in my opinion, the way that his numbers look and how he's been playing as of late. But I think just the rotation kind of needs to get figured out a little bit. I don't think guys know what their true identities are on this team and what their roles currently are. And I feel like injuries that have held guys in and out of the lineup definitely fall onto this losing streak. Not losing streak, but the slump that they're kind of in. But I think the Lakers might need to go out and trade for a guy, and that may or may not help them because they need a little bit more scoring is what I kind of have looked at, and better three-point shooting. I feel like those are the two needs that they kind of need besides those two, all-stars that they already have. So three-point shooting would help them tremendously. And I feel like usually LeBron has guys around him that are able to shoot the three ball well. And I feel like right now there's not really a clear-cut guy on this Laker team that's like, all right, hey, he's an automatic, he's going to shoot 40 plus from three-point range. I don't think the Lakers have that currently right now.
And yeah, I agree with everything you said. Sorry for the not paying attention. I was getting this on Instagram Live. I had to figure it all out. This is my first time running it. As you guys know, I am not the tech guy. The tech guy is Mr. Shaun. I'm doing my best to step in, man. I'm like Stephen A. When people step in for Stephen A. and you kind of just see the subtle reminders that Stephen A. is not in town. So I'm doing my best, Shaun, but we're up and running now. So we are good. But we are 35 games into this Lakers season, and they are the 24th worst offense, and they finished 28th in made threes per game. They doubled down this offseason, and they brought everybody back. The only person they didn't bring back was Dennis Schroeder, and they switched him out with Gabe Vincent. Unfortunately, Gabe Vincent just hasn't been able to play. He hasn't been healthy. He's been dealing with a nagging knee injury. But if I'm going to sit here and honestly say the reason the Lakers aren't good because of Gabe Vincent, the Lakers aren't that good of a team. So let's break it down. What can this Lakers team do to fix anything? They have a 2029 first-round pick and Austin Reeves. In my opinion, those are the only things that if you want to get a player to come in, like a Zach Lavine, a Pascal Siakam, a guy from the Hawks, Dejounte Murray, if you want to bring in a guy of that caliber, it's going to cost Austin Reeves. And, like Tony mentioned, AD has been playing. He's been healthy. LeBron's been healthy. So they don't have any excuses. Rob Pelinka and Darvin Ham are going to have to figure this out. They have constantly switched up the lineups. Like I mentioned, they decided to double down. And the lineups that they had in the playoffs that reached the Western Conference Finals was Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, Vando, Bron, and AD. And as of right now, this lineup has only played 15 minutes together. I get it. Vando's been hurt. D'Lo's been in and out. But you wanted to double down and bring back that camaraderie and consistency, but you're not really believing in it. So, yes, a lot of these guys that they brought in aren't making the noise because of injuries or just not production, but this team is going to have to figure it out. Like I mentioned, they're 3-9 over their last 12. if they want to contend, I think they're going to have to move over Austin Reeves. Before the season, we did a factor cap saying, is he better than Jalen Green? I believe FIBA and that Western Conference Finals run really pumped a lot of Austin Reeves fans up. You know, he was supposed to come in. He still has better numbers than Jalen Green, so don't point at me. Anyways, I don't want to have to stand. I was only I wasn't trying to do that, Toddy, but thank you for the I appreciate it.
He said that. He's the one.
Austin Reeves is just, it's not the third star that everyone was expecting him to be. And alongside LeBron James and AD, we see the inconsistencies throughout the lineup. Austin Reeves is going to have to come in day in and day out and contend. So now he's been in the 6-man role. So he's been kind of, we'll talk about our 6-man of the year predictions later on in the show, but Austin Reeves is definitely one of them. He's been coming in and day out and averaging 15 points off the bench. But everyone was expecting, including myself, maybe not Toddy, Shaun, and Garry, but I was expecting another jump from him because we saw that he averaged 14 points last year and in the playoffs averaged 19. So you saw LeBron give him that confidence, and he mentioned it on the JJ Redick podcast. Where he asked him, like, when did you honestly feel like LeBron trusted you? And he said after that Grizzlies series, because he was like, you know what, go get it. Go get the ball. And everyone was talking about the next day. All the talking heads is, oh, my God, LeBron James is sitting in the corner. Is he washed? A, B, C, and D. But Austin Reeves can go. So if we can get playoffs Austin Reeves, I think they're going to be able to contend. And like my dad said, they still aren't healthy. So once we can finally see the Lakers get healthy, we can see what they can do. But as of right now, I'm very worried. And like Toddy says, I'm the sole LeBronologist on the podcast right now. So it's hurting me to see this. So I need Darvin Ham and Rob Pelinka to get in that bag. I know the class of 2029 is 8th graders, 9th graders maybe. Got to get rid of them, man. Got to get rid of them. We got to go all in. You have LeBron James playing at 39 years old, and he's still doing what he's doing. You have to go all in. You cannot afford to waste another year of LeBron James. I've been hearing all the news of them possibly letting go of Darvin Ham. Do that. You have to double down. You didn't want to bring anybody in, so let's get production out of the guys we have. Let's get them healthy, and let's see what they can do. But as we're talking about trades, Toddy, there was a big trade that went on while we were gone. OG Anunoby was traded to the Knicks for RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly. I know there were other guys in there. I know there were some picks in there, but this was the main package of the trade. So before I ask you to break down the trade for me, Toddy, we've only seen them play 3 games. Who won this trade, in your opinion?
I feel like this trade was fairly even if you kind of look at it. OG Anunoby has kind of been a guy that's been rumored in trade since I believe last year, and like there was even a report saying, "Oh, I want 6 first-round picks for OG Anunoby," which was the insanest thing that I heard in a while. But kind of just looking at the trade. I think Prince Ashuya, I can't really pronounce the name, also was a part of this trade as well. It's fairly even trade on both sides. If you kind of look at it from the standpoint of the Knicks need a little bit more wing perimeter scoring / defending. That's what they got in OG Anunoby and shooting as well. I believe the Knicks are 3-0 since acquiring OG Anunoby. That's including the win tonight over the Sixers, which was like almost a 40-point victory, which is insane. RJ has not really lived up to what the Knicks would have hoped that he should have been. He signed an extension. I believe it was last year that he signed an extension. Emmanuel Quickly, I feel like, is going to flourish the most from this trade. He's going to basically be able to spread his wings and fly because I think most of hoopers, people who watch basketball, people who play basketball, know that Quickly is a guy who can get his shot at any given moment, has a very quick first step. And we've kind of seen the burst off of the bench in spurts for the New York Knicks. And for him to kind of go to the Raptors and be able to, play with a guy in Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam for now. I think that Quickly you'll see a lot more production from him and, him being in that starting role from coming off of the bench most of the time. I feel like Quickly, you'll see his numbers probably increase because he'll be playing a lot more. He'll be in that role of I wouldn't say number one guy, but, the starting point guard. And I feel like he will be able to, produce for you. And, it's a little bit of mixing and matching. I feel like Toronto's in a weird spot because I feel like Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam are basically the same player. So it's kind of hard for Scotty to kind of be the guy who he wants to be when Pascal Siakam is there and they kind of play the same position. So it's a little bit redundant. That's why I said for now earlier, if you guys were paying attention, I think Pascal Siakam's gone. And Toronto, there are reports, from Shams Charania, Adrian Wojnarowski that the Raptors are still seeking a trade for Pascal. And so he'll most likely be traded before the trade deadline, as reports were saying. So we'll kind of see what this team will look like. I don't know if they're trying to rebuild or they're just trying to create a roster around Scotty on the fly and kind of just, all right, let's get these players to kind of pair with Scotty so they can still kind of contend. But it's going to be hard just to try and get that chemistry. About a little bit over a quarter into the season. So I like this trade on both sides. It kind of just works out, and I feel like the Knicks Tom Thibodeau loves the OG Anunoby type of player. The way that he defends, he's always looking for guys that can defend on the perimeter. So I'd say it's probably an even trade on both sides, and we'll see what RJ Barrett can he, going back to kind of his hometown. Is he going to be able to flourish and be what he? Maybe some guys just need a change of scenery, and him being able to go home. He said he grew up a Toronto Raptors fan as a kid, which makes sense. So can RJ be what he wasn't in New York? I'm not sure, but, only time will tell.
Only time will tell, correct. And if you ask me who won this trade, it has to be the Toronto Raptors. Immanuel Quickley in his 2 games averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. RJ Barrett is averaging 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. The reason I say the Raptors won this deal, the Knicks got the better player, yes, but OG did not trade for him and automatically signed him to an extension. So if this Knicks team doesn't really flourish and become anything, they could have traded away Immanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, which is arguably their future. Right now, the Knicks are 20-15, and they're at the 6th seed. So trading away RJ Barrett and Immanuel Quickley, does this now big 3 make them a top 6 lock? I don't know, because there's a lot of teams at the bottom that are struggling right now that can contend, but there's still a lot of season over the way. But RJ Barrett, like Toddy mentioned, going back home, I think this is the perfect scenario for us to see the Montverde RJ, the Duke RJ. He's going to have to be the second fiddle on this team because, like Toddy mentioned, this Raptors team signed Fred VanVleet, so they're kind of letting go of that old team that won the ring, and now they're starting over with Scotty Barnes, and that's a hell of a player to start over with. We mentioned maybe about 2 episodes ago that he was my This Week in the NBA because he was killing, dominating, and that really showed the Raptors that we can play around this guy. We can build around this guy, and he can be a centerpiece on this team. So Pascal going, like Toddy mentioned, that there's been rumors that he's going to go, so he is the next one to fall. So I just really believe that they are going young. They're going to get a lot of draft picks, and I believe that the Raptors won this trade just because OG is not signed. So if the Knicks do what the Knicks do, I don't think he's going to resign. So Toddy, the next question I have for you is, what do the Knicks need to accomplish this season for OG to feel confident in resigning?
Well, it's New York, first of all. I think the Knicks aren't done as far as acquiring talent. You're hearing rumblings about Donovan Mitchell, Joel Embiid, guys like that. So, one, it's location. Everyone who doesn't want to live in New York. I feel like that plays a big role into it. And 2, just being able to go to the playoffs. Was OG on the championship team? I don't believe he was on the championship team. So he knows what it's like to win the title. He wants to be able to obviously compete. And are they going to be able to sign him? I mean, if they're going to be able to pay what he believes that he's worth, I mean, if they're willing to throw like 100, like 4 for what?
Easily 100 for 4. That's the starting point.
No, I'm saying like he would be like probably like a 4 for what? 120, 130? Like if they're able to pay him that, he's gonna be like, where do I sign? So I mean, money's gonna obviously be a role, but I think they have to be competitive. They got to win a playoff series. I mean, they won one last year in beating the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round. Can they make a deep playoff run? I think they believe OG can be like a cornerstone type of piece. I feel like they're like another superstar player away from them kind of being able to go. But I feel like OG will stay if they're willing to pay him. So it's not like he's going to just, or like where else would he realistically go?
But I mean, he had to get traded. So now if he's a free agent, he can go anywhere.
Yeah, so.
And when you look at the contenders in the East, you don't even think about the Knicks. If the playoffs started today, they would play the Pacers in a 7-game series. Do you feel confident taking the Knicks over the Pacers today?
No. No.
If we can see Tyrese Halliburton beat the Bucks 4 times, they're winning that series in 6. So it's going to be a toss-up, man, because if they can't re-sign,
he still might test free agency, but I feel like he'll stay.
Oh, if he tested, he's gone. If they don't end the season with an extension, he's out of there, bro. You don't test it and then come back to be like, oh, you know what? I don't want to win. We can do whatever we do here. I just want to play in New York. You know, I know Aaron Rodgers is in town, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to really want people to stay. So.
I feel like another part of it is what else are the Knicks prepared to do? Like, who else are they trying to lure to New York? Would also play a big role, and that could affect his bag as well. If it's getting another superstar, so he might not get as much as he would have hoped if he, decides to stay versus, leaving and getting a bag somewhere else. So a lot of key factors play into it too. Is if they're willing to, go after and try and get a guy in Donovan Mitchell, that may affect his bag as far as that 150. That 150 could be 120 very quickly.
But like Uncle Manny said for the audio only listeners, I think the trade worked for the Raptors and the Knicks. Have a great show. We appreciate you like always, Uncle Manny. Even though you are a Cowboys fan, we always do appreciate it. We always
had to throw that in there.
Oh, I got you, man. So, talking about trades, Toddy, what are your best landing spots for Zach LaVine and Pascal Siakam?
So, I'll start with Pascal. Up until about an hour ago, the Kings were on here. I had the Kings. So I think I had 3 teams on here. So I had the Kings. I have OKC on here, and I had the Mavs. So I saw like throughout the day today, the Kings were like, I saw like just more and more reports like the Kings are serious suitors and this, that, and the third, and they're one of the guys that are leading the Pascal Siakam race when it comes to, trying to be one of those trade guys. And then about an hour ago, Shams comes out and tweets and says, talks have halted. The Kings are no longer in the Pascal Siakam race. Basically, I can kind of quote it. This Kev sent it in the group chat. Sacramento Kings are decided to pull out of the Pascal Siakam talks, sources say. Things can be fluid, but Kings and Raptors talks are now over.
And like I said,
that was right before the game, too.
They said, we want Keegan. The Kings said, enjoy your trip. We're going to be
I can imagine that sign. The Kings are up 20 right now, which is insane. Keegan Murray has 14 at that. So that's probably what they were looking for. And the Kings, also another report came out from Shams. I don't know if it was Shams. I think it was Yahoo that came out and said, Herter, Davion, and Harrison are all kind of like, hey, these guys are available. So I think that's kind of the package that they were trying to do, and probably a pick or 2. And they were going to send that to Toronto. Toronto was like, well, what about Keegan Murray? And then, as Kevin said, have a nice trip. As Kevin is celebrating the fact that the Kings are not getting Pascal Siakam. But the other teams that I had on my list for Pascal, OKC, I feel like they have the picks, right? So it kind of just makes sense for them to trade a shit ton, maybe like 3 first round picks, 2, 3, and a player maybe.
To resign.
I think they probably would have to re-sign him, but they have a lot of young talent on there. No one's really making anything. It's kind of just Shea is up for 400 million or something insane, whatever his extension will be. I think it's this offseason. So they have the picks to do it. So if they don't want to give up any players, they can just trade whatever picks that they want. Maybe 2 2s, 2 1s for Pascal, maybe 2 1s and a 2. They'll probably work something out. They have like 22 picks in like the next however many drafts it is. So OKC would be great. I think they don't. J-Dub is kind of just another guard, but I feel like he would be, a stretch 4 or 3 is what Pascal would be. How tall is Pascal? Like 6'9", I think, 6'8", 6'9", if I'm not sure. But I think in OKC, from what they've already been able to accomplish right now, and adding him to that roster would just make them another contender in the West. The Mavs was the last team. C6-8. Okay, so the Mavs is the last team that I had on this list. If he goes to the Mavs, they would have to re-sign him like on the spot. I'm looking at it from a standpoint as you have Luka Doncic, you have Kyrie Irving. Those are like your guys on the team. And if you trade for Pascal, you would essentially be getting rid of your bench. So I would assume that Tim Hardaway Jr. would be somewhere around that, and Josh Green would be in there, and maybe a pick or so. And so that being said, if you're going to gut the roster, you're going to have to sign him to an extension, and that would essentially be your team. Those 3 guys, and you have Derek Lively, and Cleaver or whoever, Dwight Powell, whatever, and your team would kind of be just centered around those 3 guys, which is still a really solid team who could potentially still make it to, Western Conference Finals. Luka's definitely done it with less. And just to have it, you're just trying to surround more talent around Luka just to try and, keep him happy and be able to contend for championships and be able to compete in the West. So surround him by those 3 guys. That would be a very solid team that you can kind of just, all right, this is, what we'd be capable of. And that would be a very viable team in the West, I would definitely say. As far as Zach LaVine goes, LaVine only had, we kind of talked about this a couple podcasts ago. It's kind of just Sixers and Lakers is kind of what I'm seeing. It would be redundant for him to go to a lot of other different teams. A sleeper team that I had was Minnesota on here, get him to go back to Minnesota. I don't really see that happening, but it would be nice to see him alongside Ant and Rudy. Not sure if Cat would be there. He would probably be a part of that type of trade. But as far as the Sixers go, it would be, Maxey. It would be, I think Tobias would probably be a part of this trade. He would be, yeah. So it would be Maxey, it would be Joel. You have Naz Reid there and Zach LaVine. So that would be a team that can kind of just, I don't know if their odds would change if Zach LaVine goes to the Sixers. Like whatever their title odds now, I feel like they wouldn't change as much. But I feel like it would be the best fit for him. You basically have 2 scoring guards in Maxey and Zach LaVine. So it would just add to their scoring aspect. Joel Embiid is playing at an MVP caliber level. They would definitely be able to make Eastern Conference run for sure with those 3 guys. And as far as the Lakers go, I don't know, what does Zach LaVine shoot from 3? I think he came back tonight, if I'm not mistaken. LaVine did come back tonight. They won. They beat the Jesus.
He is shooting this year. He is shooting.
LaVine had 15 and 30 minutes. So
yeah. Oh damn, he's only shooting 34.
Yeah, so I don't know if that really helps the Lakers because they still need shooting, but at the same time they do need more scoring as well. So I feel like he could help the Lakers a little bit more than the Sixers, in my opinion. But Those are like the two teams that I'm seeing that he's probably going to end up going to. I don't really see anywhere else that he could go to and like fit and still be able to go on like a playoff run. So Sixers and Lakers are kind of where I'm looking at that he'd probably go to.
Definitely, like Ty mentioned, we really revisited the Zach LaVine topic on a couple episodes ago, but with him coming back, I feel like we just had to give him the love. But like Toddy said, I really just believe that he's going to be a Laker. You know, I think the Lakers are going to go all in. Another Cali, or he's from Seattle, but he went to school at UCLA. So just bringing in that youth, you know, just that third star that you can rely on day in and day out. I know Zach LaVine has had injury problems, but it comes with him. You know, he's a great player, so I think he can add a lot to the Lakers. So that is the only landing spot for him. For Pascal Siakam, I would love for him to be Oklahoma City Thunder. They are the second youngest team in the NBA, and they can use a vet like that, but I just think he doesn't fit their timeline. You know, you have to pay him all this money, and he's an older player. They don't have any vets for a reason. You know, they got a lot of young guys getting up and down. Bringing in a guy like that who's really ball dominant, I think can really mess up the flow. I think Pascal's more of a two guy than a third star. I think they wouldn't. I don't think they would defer to him over Chet. So now I don't think Pascal's going to want to be a third option. But a spot that I would absolutely love Pascal Siakam. Can you get any guesses?
Sacramento Kings.
No, sir. The Indiana Pacers.
Ooh, I didn't think of that.
We have Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, and Tyrese Halliburton.
He could damn near be the number one option. I'm not even gonna lie in the Indiana because Tyrese is so. I gave you guys the numbers. He's had multiple 20 assist games, 18. He had 18 assists tonight. So I mean, like Pascal, a guy that is looking to give up the ball. Pascal's like, yeah, of course.
There you go put the ball in the net. But you put him with Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner. They both stretch big, so that really just helps space out the floor. Bruce Brown. The only thing is, I think they'd have to give up Benedict Mathurin, and I'm a big Benedict Mathurin fan, and probably like a Buddy Hield. But the way they are right now, they just beat the Bucks 4 times. I think the Pacers are going to say, "Fuck it, we're all in, no matter what." We have Bruce Brown. We have champions. We're going to bring in Pascal. So this is no longer going to be this young team. We have guys that have gone the distance and won a ring. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of see how this all plays out. But we have a comment from Uncle Manny. What do you think the Kings need to do to take the next step? They struggle with bigs. So, Toddy, that's perfect timing, Uncle Manny, because the next topic, Sacramento Kings have made Harrison Barnes, Davion Mitchell, and Kevin Huerter available for trade. So, Toddy, I'm a native Kings fan, so I'm going to take this first. This is the absolute worst package. We are not getting shit. We are not getting shit for this. And all last year, Toddy used to give me shit because anytime the Kings or a player came up, I said, Rashawn Holmes, Harrison Barnes in the first. Take it or leave it. And now we're giving up this. So let me give you guys some depth on why I think this is horrible. Harrison Barnes is averaging 12 points, 3 rebounds. Kevin Huerter is averaging 9 points, 3 assists. Davion Mitchell is averaging 5 points and 2 assists. What are we going to get with that kind of a package? I understand that we talked about with Pascal, like maybe they're asking for Keegan Murray or Malik Monk. There are 4 untouchable Kings players. De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, Keegan Murray, Malik Monk. Anyone else can go.
Oh, now Malik Monk is untouchable.
He got to be untouchable. He's a package deal.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, you give him a blank check and say, what you want? So, but we're not giving enough to get a guy like Pascal Siakam. The Raptors, like we mentioned, they're rebuilding. They're trying to build around Scotty Barnes and now RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Kevin Huerter, Davion Mitchell. Harrison Barnes isn't going to get you shit. So if the Kings, Uncle Manny, if the Kings really want to make that move, unfortunately, it's going to take one of those 4. It's not going to be our all-stars, and I don't think it's Keegan. So the business side of things, Malik Monk's on an expiring contract. He is arguably 6th man of the year. I would hate to see it happen, but if it brings us that third guy, would I be down for it? Probably not, because I don't want that to, like I said, with Chet's development, is that going to be stunted with Pascal? Is Keegan Murray's development going to be? Toddy mentioned in the preseason show that he expected Keegan Murray to take a jump, take a leap. And if he can become that third star for the Kings, it's limitless. We can do whatever we need to do out there. But I just think the Kings need to just stay packed. We didn't make any moves in the offseason for a reason. Let's double down. And even if we wanted to make a trade, it's not going to go. Hey, man, let's talk about the group chat. Toddy has been preaching for 2 years. So Kyle Kuzma on the Sacramento Kings. If we can get last year's Kyle Kuzma, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, I'm all in. I don't need 26 points per game. 28 attempts a night. We don't need that inside. So if we can get LA Kuzma or even last year Kuzma, Kyle Kuzma had the option to go play anywhere. He took his money and decided that I'm going to play with this team that isn't doing shit. We brought in Jordan Poole. I had to die on that hill. I expected a James Harden type season, all-star. We ain't getting that. They are statistically the worst 1-2 punch in the NBA. So now the Washington Wizards are sitting there with their hands up like, fuck it. If you want to go, Kyle, we'll get the money off the books and let's bring in some talent. But I wouldn't mind Kyle Kuzma, but like I said, I need 18, 8 and 4. I don't need 27. I don't need him shooting no more than 14, 15 shots a night.
He's shooting 20 shots a game.
What I see, and then we don't need it. We don't need another shot.
Off enough shots.
But think about it. What does that do to Keegan Murray?
Yeah, it fucks up his.
Yeah. Keegan Murray's already a roller coaster. Now he's not getting shots. Fuck that. No. It's not happening. So, what was your – I know we spoke on earlier when we talked about Pascal Siakam, but what were your initial thoughts when you saw that this was going to be the trade package for us to bring in A, B, C, or D?
It's like you kind of mentioned. What can you realistically get for these three guys? You might have to throw a pick in or two.
You might.
Yeah, you're gonna have to throw in a pick.
Like we're not a bad enough team to have a good enough pick to be like, oh yeah, the King Sacramento first round pick is cherished gold.
And it ultimately kind of goes back to the offseason and Monty McNair being content with what they already had and what they were able to accomplish with essentially the exact same team. And right now, I wouldn't say it's been a letdown, but you've kind of had some bumpy starts or bumpy patches in the season, losing to Orlando, losing to Charlotte without
Houston back-to-back nights,
and losing to Houston back-to-back games. It's been tough. So now you're kind of looking like, oh, it's like when it's like when you pass up on a girl and then you see her on Instagram and she's, showing this and that. And then, a couple of months go by and you're like, hey, remember me? So the Kings are currently right now that person that passed up on that girl, that Instagram model that they fumbled, and now they're trying to patch it all together. And now it's like, okay, Kuzma's on $185 million deal. Pascal Siakam is looking for a check that he's on the last year of his deal. So it's like the Kings are probably going to have to be centered around. They're probably going to have to pay one of these guys if they do end up trading for somebody. You're going to end up paying one of these guys. So Monty McNair is kind of just weighing out all of his options right now. Weird to see that these Pascal Siakam talks halt the night of them playing against Toronto. So that may or may not have something to do with it, but it's just going to come down to you're going to have to pay one of these guys, and your payroll is going to increase because De'Aaron Fox turned down $50 million a year, a two-year $100 million extension is what he ended up turning down. So your payroll is going to be high, and Kev already mentioned that Malik Monk is apparently untouchable. The monster is what I called him on Shaun, is what when he was first signed to the Kings. Shaun, the host of this podcast, didn't really believe in Malik Monk, and now now that he's actually able to watch him play, I've been watching Malik Monk since high school. I'm pretty sure Kevin has as well. What he's basically capable of and what he can do. We already mentioned oh my God, Paulo. Sorry. I'm watching the Nuggets Magic game. It's tied up 120 all.
You gotta up, man. I feel you.
But no, just trying to keep those four guys together, and then everybody else can go. So I don't know what these three guys will be able to get you or who they're trying to go after besides Pascal. Up until, like I said, an hour ago, they were the front runner for the Pascal Siakam trade. And all of a sudden, those toxic. So, like, let's just say Pascal gets traded to the Kings. What does the team look like, and how far can the Kings go? Are they going to the finals?
So in this theoretical, we're just giving up these three and let's say a couple picks.
Yeah.
What can that team do? The way the West is looking, bro, we can make it to West Conference Finals.
Anything is possible after that.
I don't believe
Darren's playing at an MVP caliber level.
But when you think about the top teams in the West, I'm looking at the standings right now. You have the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. They both have dominant big men. Yes. And Sabonis, we saw last year, struggled.
Bullied.
Getting against Kevin Looney. Kevin Looney isn't Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, or the Joker. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or not even Aaron Gordon. So if we don't, it depends on the matchup. If we can get around having to play one of the two of them, I think we're fine against everybody else because everyone else mostly plays small ball. So having Sabonis at the 5 and Pascal at the 4, it could work. But, like, I know Shaun's going to watch this and be like, well, what about when it was Miles Turner and Sabonis and they couldn't do it? And that is my thing. Are we going to put him at the 4 and just kind of roll with the punches? We have a free-flowing offense, and I understand that. But if we get rid of Kevin Huerter, does that mean Malik Monk is no longer a 6-man? Are we gonna put Chris Duarte out there still? So we're still gonna have the 2-guard problems, but our front court gets a lot better. Like you mentioned, Aaron Fox playing at the MVP level. So does this make us a finals team? Like you said, everything's out the window when we make the Western Conference Finals. It's the best team for 4 games. Who can get 4 wins faster? So
remember the last time you went to Western Conference Finals?
And,
got cheated.
So I think this could make up for it. But I on the Sacramento Kings, kind of like with Oklahoma City Thunder, I don't really think he fits our timeline. We're kind of trying to develop young roots. Our veterans, we're bringing in guys that have won at the highest level. And JaVale McGee, Mike Brown he's a championship winning coach. So we're trying to kind of build for the future. And like I said, like I mentioned, Keegan Murray's untouchable. So it would be interesting to see how the 3 of them play out because Keegan Murray would now become a predominant 3. But Keegan guards their best player, so could Keegan play the 2? So then a lot of things come into play, and we'd have to really sit down and think about it. But I think the peak with that team, even without Pascal's Western Conference Finals, but if we get Pascal Siakam, depending on what we have to give up, I would say Western Conference Finals for sure. But while we're talking about threats in the West, Toddy, let me ask you a question. Are the Oklahoma City a real threat in the Western Conference? They sit 3rd in the West behind the Nuggets and the Timberwolves.
All right, Kev, you'd be so proud of me. I got a bunch of OKC stats. Now, up until tonight, they kind of screwed the pooch a little bit, on the road against Brooklyn.
Brooklyn was nasty early.
It was bad. Brooklyn was shooting the lights out. You had Cam Thomas, Mikal Bridges, all those guys. They were shooting the shit out of the ball. So, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. If OKC finishes 2nd in the Western Conference, he's going to win MVP. I'm just going to put that out right now. It's just the way that this guy's been playing. Let's just go off his last 10 games. He's averaging 33, 7 and 6 his last 10 games. We'll just give you the numbers that he's been putting up. So tonight he had 34, 33, 36, 24, 40, 36, 34, 34, 31, 30.
You get a 30 ball. You get a 30 ball. You get a 30 ball.
Everybody's getting a 30 ball. So if you're thinking about going against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his prize picks, you've been losing pretty consistently. But just pretty much in every metric, there's just a bunch of stats that the team is in like top 5, top 4, top 3. So as a team, OKC is shooting 50% from the field. As a team, they're shooting 50%. They're fourth in the league in scoring. They're first in the league in 3-point percentage. They're shooting 39%. First in free throw percentage at 84%. So they're getting to the rack pretty consistently. Fourth in steals. They're first in blocks, which kind of surprised me that they're first in blocks. But I think that has to do a lot with Chet getting a bunch of these blocks. But they don't really have a big man. So I feel like that's kind of the only thing that's hurting them. They make at least 13 threes a game. So they're shooting the shit out of the ball pretty well. Tonight was kind of the anomaly. You have Shea, who's averaging 31 for the season, shooting 55% from the field, which is insane. Chet averaging 17 and 7 and 2 blocks. He's shooting 40% from 3, which is amazing. 54% from the field. And J-Dub, I feel like that's kind of their big 3. I don't really consider Giddey the guy. He's not really a guy that's going to score. He's more of a distributor. J-Dub's averaging 18, he's shooting 40%, 43% from 3, and 53% from field. So those 3 guys are all shooting 50% of the field. And as a team, they're shooting at least 50% from the field. So they've been shooting the ball pretty well consistently, besides tonight. Like I've already said, that this team is kind of a big man, maybe another piece away. But I mean, they're already second. They're top 3 in the West right now. And Kev, you can write this down on the whiteboard or the notebook, because I know that Shaun is here. If the OKC Thunder finish second in the West, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to win the MVP. That's just hands down. I gave you his numbers the past 10 games. If he's going to keep doing this and they're going to be able to stay at the top of the Western Conference, OKC is going to have another MVP in Oklahoma City. I think it would be their second MVP ever in history. So
third, or yeah,
KD, yeah, or third. KD and Russ. So he's in pretty good company. He'd be in pretty good company. I consider those guys Hall of Famers. So he's on that track. Maybe if you want to try and get a little bit better, just try to get a little bit better on your, big man depth. I don't know if there's really that many options out there, but just try to get better in your front court. But that's really, OKC is definitely a threat in the West. If they keep playing the way that they're playing and Shai's putting up the numbers that he's putting up, it's going to be unprecedented on how fast, I'd say, this OKC team was able to kind of, bounce back after KD and Russ and James Harden, after those guys kind of, that trio dispersed. So for Sam Presti to be able to build what he's building with all the picks that he's accumulating and, drafting a Chet, trading for a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and drafting a J-Dub, and, this team, I don't know. Well, I was pretty high on OKC in the pregame show, as we always like to refer back to at the beginning of the season. Even a couple of weeks ago, I kind of doubled down on them when Kev was like, they're probably going to fall down, to play in. And I'm like, no, I think they're going to be a playoff team, like a solid team that's going to be a force in the West. I think the OKC Thunder are having a similar season to what the Sacramento Kings had last year. And I think, and I'm actually, no, I don't think, I know, OKC is way younger than, the Sacramento Kings were. So I feel like OKC is definitely ahead of schedule in the organization's eyes, and what they're going to be able to do and how young this team is and what they're already accomplishing at this age that all these guys are.
So do you believe they should make a trade and kind of go all in, put all their eggs in one basket?
Like I said, they're young. So it's like there's nothing really to rush. I feel like they have an embarrassment of riches of picks, so they can blow 3 first-round picks on a Pascal or a Zach LaVine or whoever's out there. Like, they have so many picks to be like, all right, like, how much you want? Like how much you want for how many picks you want? Like I got picks. Picks are no object to the OKC Thunder. And that could be you can wait in the offseason and try to get a guy and kind of lure them. Now it is Oklahoma City Thunder. So I don't know if guys are just all right, let's pack our bags and move to OKC. I don't know if that's something people are looking forward to doing. So I believe if they were to get somebody, I don't know if it's going to be in free agency. You're going to have to try and trade for one of these guys and still be able to pay them at that too. Like I said, this team is young, so they're not really paying anybody. The only guy that they're going to have to pay is obviously Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And we saw reports from like last year that his max is going to be like 4 because CBA keeps going up and up and up pretty much every year. So his max is going to be like $400 million, a lot. So that's probably a reason why somebody would want to stay or move to OKC is, them being able to get paid. So, like I said, OKC doesn't really have to trade for anybody. It's just that they have so many picks and they're able to do something like that. They're not balling on a budget. There's no budget with them. they can, potentially, fuck up the market just based off of just how many picks that they have. They can reset the market for certain players because they have an embarrassment of riches and picks.
All right, Toddy. So before I give you this, I just don't say anything, just think about it. So Oklahoma City sends a first and Josh Giddey to Chicago for Alex Caruso. Okay. And then they send 3 firsts to Utah for 26-year-old Lauri Markkanen. Think of this starting line. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Alex Caruso, Jalen Williams, Lauri Markkanen, and Chet Holmgren. What is that team looking like?
Well, Lauri is not really a 5. He's more of a 4.
The 4, exactly. So he plays the 4.
How many rebounds does Lauri average?
So Lauri is averaging right now 24 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 assist.
Because they need rebounding, if anything. But obviously he helps in the scoring aspect as Lauri was an all-star last year. So that may or may not relinquish a little bit of scoring duties from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't know if his numbers dip at all because Shai is going to get his buckets whenever that he wants. But that would
I think Josh Giddey's the odd man out, bro. When you think about young guys, Jalen Williams really stole Josh Giddey's number. We all thought that was going to be the big 3. You saw the summer league with Chet and Giddey really making that impact, but you have to execute on this right now. And yeah, I'm on both sides of the fence. You can run it in the playoffs, see how you do, and then go from there. But they have so many good picks. You can go out there and get a Lauri Markkanen and Alex Caruso. So now you have a lockdown defender, and you have Lou Dort still on this team. So Lou Dort and Caruso guarding the best 2 guys on the perimeter. They have 10 guys that are shooting over 40% from 3, and Josh Giddey is not one of those guys. So you're continuing to add a 3-point shooter and defenders on both ends. They're one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA. You add that, they're a top 5 defensive team and a top 3 offense in the NBA. You have to go all in right now. Do it early. The Jazz are really in this spiral that they're getting picks. They just want to rebuild and build around the guys that they have. Lauri Markkanen is a guy who's going to get paid in 2 seasons. Like you said, they're only paying Shai. You bring in Lauri Markkanen, you pay him. You still have Jalen Williams on his rookie deal for 2 seasons. You have Chet on his rookie deal for 2 seasons. So you're not paying anybody. So if you have to sprinkle some money for Alex Caruso and Lauri Markkanen to ensure that you will remain a top 3 seed in the West, I don't know who says no. Lauri Markkanen and you got your 3 young guys.
That's trade I haven't seen either.
You said what?
I said that's not a trade that I haven't seen that either. So that's something that you could definitely look out for. But go ahead, continue. Sorry.
You bring in Alex Caruso and Lauri Markkanen to this team that's already doing really well. They could be the first team since 1969 to have the MVP and Rookie of the Year on the same roster. So
that's crazy.
this Oklahoma City team can make some noise, and I think those two pieces ultimately could make them a contender in the West. Right now, they're on the bubble of a contender. I think that puts them in the box right there. Because then you put that team against the Timberwolves, I'm probably taking the Thunder. You put them against the Nuggets, I don't know if Chet can hold up. But that's the only team, just like with the Kings, because those are the only two teams that predominantly really go big. Everyone else goes small. So you're telling me in a small ball lineup, you have 5 guys that can knock down a three-pointer? Literally, 5 guys that can knock down a three-pointer. And Shea is the king of the ISO hill. You get caught on that island? Oh boy. Like Toddy saw his Celtics, Drew Holiday, go get him. Jason Tatum, you try. Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Derek White, next, Peyton Pritchard. They were throwing everybody out. You have to execute on this. We saw that they didn't really put enough around the last big three that they had. And you saw how close they got. Now you're doubling and getting rid of Josh Giddey and bringing in guys like Alex Caruso and Lauri Markkanen. I believe that them over the hump. So I would love to see it. But talking about the Western Conference, we talked about the Lakers earlier. The Suns are currently 18 and 16. So, Toddy, who do you feel more confident moving forward, the Lakers or the Suns?
Suns. You have Brad, you have Book, and you have KD. Pretty much everybody. 3 of those guys, all-star caliber. 2 of those guys are definitely top 10 in the NBA. I just think they haven't really been able to catch a rhythm because guys have been in and out of that lineup. Early in the year was D-Book and Brad. Kind of just KD out there making, happen with ends meet. And, Brad has kind of started to come back a little bit. And now KD's out of the lineup. So injuries have kind of derailed, I'd say, both of these teams, the Lakers and the Suns. But kind of just going back to what we kind of were all, people were picking this Suns team to win the finals when they acquired Bradley Beal. So we all know kind of what they're capable of, But at the same time, Kevin Durant's team, the on-paper bandits, as I'll probably say. Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving played a total of, 10, 11 games together? So for them to only play that many games together in that time span kind of just derailed the entire situation of wanting guys to leave where they currently were at. And ultimately, he's in Phoenix right now. And we're kind of seeing the same thing now. And Kev tried to tell all of us that Bradley Beal is not a guy that's going to be healthy. You're like, Toddy, you're saying that he's averaging this, that, and the third. Yeah, he averaged 30. That was like 2.5, 3 years ago when he was playing with Russell Westbrook. And what about his numbers last year? He doesn't play. He's hurt. And I was like, nah, Kev, he's averaging 30. He's averaging 25. He's an all-star in the East.
Wanted to see.
And he was like, hey, all right, just watch. Brad missed like the first
12 games.
12 games, and
first game back, ankle.
He hurt his ankle coming back, and just he's a 10-man, and so it kind of just goes back to, can everybody be on the floor at the same time? I think we can all agree if they're all. That's the question with them. If these guys are all on the floor at the same time, it's going to be pretty tough to stop them. And, Devin Booker, I feel like, is one of the top guys in the league. KD, obviously, being able to he's averaging 30. So, it's like, what do you want? Adding Brad to that mix is tough, but you have to cross your fingers for all 3 of these guys to be healthy on the same night. And when you're paying $50 million, $40 million, $30 million, you're not trying to be crossing your fingers for nothing. You're expecting these things to happen.
You want them to check the cash.
When you're paying, these guys these crazy amounts of money and they're not able to perform because obviously they're hurt, it's hurting your franchise. So I feel more confident in the Suns than the Lakers because I feel like when the Suns are healthy, they can do whatever they want because they have three guys that can, when healthy, probably average north of 27 points a game. With this Lakers team, it's like, okay, Anthony Davis and LeBron are healthy, but it's like everybody else is not, doing what they're supposed to do. And you're already hearing rumblings about the coach and Darvin Ham being, under a small hot seat or whatever. Like he's going to be able to finish the season. I don't think they'll fire him, but there's some discomfort. They're disgruntled in the locker room. So, with this Lakers team, you're kind of looking for somebody else to kind of step up. With the Suns, it's like, all right, we know what all three of these guys are capable of. They just all have to play on the same team, or they all have to be able to be on the floor at the same time. And I feel like health and time will only tell with this team.
So, who do I feel more confident in? The Lakers or the Suns? God damn it, LeBron James, okay? They're going to figure it out. Last year, me and Garry said they were going to win it all, and Toddy and Shaun laughed at us. So, Garry, let them know that we were down. We were committed. We thought they could do it, and they doubled down. They have seen this team win before. Gabe Vincent's got to get healthy. They can make a move. They're going to have to figure it out. Rob Pelinka is a smart man. He is not going to waste another year of LeBron James. He's not. He's playing at an MVP level. He's going to be an all-star starter. Anthony Davis is healthy. He has never played this many games in his career. Everything is going right for you guys. Every year, we've always talked about always dressed, never playing, inconsistent. He's giving you consistency. He's showing that he's going to be able to be that guy when Bron retires. And Bron is showing that he's still him. They have to find a way to make this work. They have the better bench. They have the better coach. Frank Vogel, I think he's a great coach. I don't think he's better than Darvin Ham. And going off of the simple fact that Darvin Ham played in the league. Darvin Ham knows the ins and outs. Frank Vogel's a championship winning coach. I get it. He inherited a lot of good teams. A lot of those good teams had a dominant big man. They don't have that anymore. So they don't have a true point guard. They have a lot of things going on, and their depth is shit. Like, Bol is exploding right now, and that's exciting everybody because they don't have any bench production. Eric Gordon, besides Bol has been Eric Gordon. It's been the Asian guy from the Nets. They just don't have anybody.
Watanabe.
Saban Lee's been playing out there. Like, they just don't have any depth. So if one of those guys go down, like knocking on wood, I don't know what the Suns are going to be. So just based off of what we've seen so far, we've seen the Lakers play at a high. Yes, they've lost 3 out of their last or they have lost a lot of the last 12. They lost 3 out of the last – they lost 9 out of their last 12, excuse me. So we've seen them win. We saw them win the Eastern tournament. They're playing like one of the best teams at one point. I believe that LeBron James is not going to sit around and waste his time. They're going to have to figure it out. So just based off of that, I feel a lot more confident in LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers than I do the Phoenix Suns. Yes, the Suns look pretty on paper, but we've seen that on the court is not the prettiest of things. So
on paper bandits.
I have to be a LeBronologist, man. I have to ride with my guy.
Have to.
So, this is episode 72 of Stats Over Politics. We have a couple more topics, and we'll be getting you guys out of here. So please leave us a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are everywhere that you guys want to be. You guys are on X, we're on X, we're live on X. You guys are on Instagram, we're live on Instagram. You guys are on YouTube, we're live on YouTube. We would not be at episode 72 if it wasn't for you guys. So we appreciate you guys. Just please keep sharing it, liking it. Like I mentioned, you guys supporting us helps us a long way. Some little insight in the group chat. We hit our first 2,000 view TikTok. And TikTok said, yeah, they too hot now. Let's go ahead and not post their stuff no more. So we are nothing without you guys. So we appreciate it. I speak for the 4 of us. We greatly appreciate you guys. So moving on to the show. I asked Toddy to bring his top 3 6 Man of the Year candidates. So Toddy, right now, January 5th, who are your top 3 6 Man of the Year candidates?
Okay, so I was kind of going back and forth with this. It's kind of tough. Malik Monk has to be in there. I kind of gave
Where is he? 1 to 3. You gotta put pen to paper, Toddy. Let us know where he stands.
So I was going off of the numbers, but I'm looking at team success kind of factor in a little bit as it as well. There were guys that have better numbers than Malik Monk, but I feel like what he's doing is contributing to the team success. So I probably have Malik Monk at 1. He's averaging 15, shooting 40%, 42% from 3. If the Kings are able to kind of, play at a more consistent pace, and the Kings are winning kind of like what they were last year, I think Malik Monk will definitely win Sixth Man of the Year. Tim Hardaway Jr. is on my list as well. He's averaging 17 a game, but he's shooting 35% from 3. The Mavs were playing pretty solid. I'd say up until about a little bit before Christmas, around the time Kyrie got hurt. But even when Kyrie got hurt, Luka was kind of just still playing out of his mind, and they were able to win, games at a consistent rate. But they kind of, veered off the path a little bit and started losing. Now they ended up winning tonight, but ultimately they've kind of been a little bit more inconsistent. And I think if we see a little bit more inconsistencies from the Mavs, but Tim Hardaway's still putting up numbers. I don't know if he'll be able to get that stamp over Monk. And third I had on my list was Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony's averaging 14. He's shooting 35% from 3. But again, it kind of goes to team success. The Magic are playing pretty. They just they knocked off the Nuggets tonight. Now, the Nuggets were on a back-to-back. It was a crazy game. Jokic had the game winner last night, which is insane. Thank you, Jokic. You saved my parlay. But the Magic are like they're a 7 seed currently. I think they're tied for 6. They're tied with the Knicks currently right now for 6. So Magic were they were up there in the standings on the East, but they kind of came back to life a little bit. But if the Magic are able to I think if the Magic make the playoffs and Cole's averaging like 16, 17 a game, he might win it. Just based off of how long, the Magic have been out of the playoffs and, how their resurgence kind of back to life would be. But my front runner currently is Malik Monk for Sixth Man of the Year.
Okay. So Toddy stole my list. Number 1, I had Malik Monk, of course. Number 2, I had Cole Anthony.
Cool.
I really wanted to put Emmanuel quickly on here, but I believe he's going to be
he's going to be starting now.
So that's going to suck. But I had him at 1, but over Malik Monk, just going off the numbers. He's averaging 16. So I have to take Emmanuel quickly off my list, and I replaced him with the one and only Austin Reeves, 15.5. So I don't know. Reeves can go in there. Like, I'm expecting the Lakers turnaround like I am. It's going to have to be a lot on his plate. So I feel like he can kind of step into that late conversation. But as of right now, I think the hands down, it's Malik Monk. It has to be. What he's been able to do off the bench is absolutely insane. We've really seen the Kentucky backcourt flourish in every city coming near you. This show, they take the show on the road. They do it at home. So Malik Monk winning Sixth Man of the Year. Personally, I don't want him to win because that means the paycheck is bigger. I would love to bring him another award to Sacramento, but if he does that, then that means that bag is getting heavier and heavier. So I also asked Toddy to bring a list of who will be this season's first-time All-Star. I'm going to take this first because I don't want you to take my guy. I'm going to go with Jalen Brunson. I think he was snubbed last year. The Knicks are currently 6 right now. So he's going to have to get to winning a lot more games. But Jalen Brunson is a guy who was averaging 26 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists, showing that what he did when Luka in the playoffs wasn't a fluke. He's consistently doing it night in and night out. He is single-handedly carrying this team because he was supposed to kind of come in and be the 1B to Julius Randle, but now it's been reversed. Before Jalen got here, Julius Randle's all NBA, A, B, C, and D, All-Star, and now it's been reversed. They brought OG in, so I think Jalen Brunson will be a first-time All-Star. And then secondly, I had on this list, which is obvious because I know he's going to be an All-Star, is Tyrese Maxey. He's coming in averaging 27 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds. One of the best guards in the East. So those are the guys that I would put in my first-time All-Star category. What do you have, Tony? Hopefully, two guys.
Well, Brunson was obviously a guy, just the way that he's been playing. But he's just been a guy that's been killing.
Real subtle.
A guy that I have been screaming from the hilltops from since the preseason show. Paolo Banchero. I think he's not probably. He should be an all-star starter.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. But not a starter. But yeah, 30-point triple-double tonight against, the best team or the defending champs. So it's like, okay, you got to put this guy on the all-star team. But he's been a guy that I've been, screaming from since, day one that he's got to take a leap this year. And the Magic wouldn't be where they are currently if it weren't for Paolo Banchero. Yeah, he's been killing, man. And I kind of went back and forth with a couple of guys on here. I don't know if Jamal Murray's going to make it just because he was kind of hurt for the injuries might derail him from becoming that. Desmond Bane may or may not be a guy. It's just they're like 11 and they're like 11 and 20 something. So it's like, it's tough to, his numbers are up there though, with like, as far as scoring goes, his numbers are up there for sure. Mikal Bridges, I think may or may not make I think he has to make it just based off his numbers. He's averaging like 26 a game. So it's like, okay, we got to put you in based off of that. Now, Brooklyn's not having the season. Like, a lot of these guys on this first-time All-Star list are like teams that were terrible last year, and they're trying to be on the up and up this year. But the numbers are backing them up. So they'll probably make it because their numbers are too good. It's like, we'll make you a reserve. Right? So it's like, Paulo, the Magic are actually good this year. So that's why I feel like I know he's going to make it. Bridges is like, they're kind of on the cusp. They're in that playing spot. So it's like, okay, like I get it. So his numbers are there to back it up. So I'll say definitely Bridges will probably end up making it. And I think Paulo's going to make it too. Paulo's been out of this world this year.
The man, the myth, the legend himself, Shaun Holcomb, Victor Wembanyama. We talked about the preseason show all the time. We did a factor cap. Would Victor be an all-star this year? I think we all said fact. Shaun, I would love for Victor to get in there, but if Victor gets in there, it would only
at what
be
cost?
On hype. But another guy that I forgot to mention, Alfred Sengun. I think he could fuck around and get in there. He's averaging 22 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Hey, man.
Baby Joker?
Baby Joker.
Baby Joker?
Yeah, Toddy, I just sent you I don't know if you had the picture of the screenshot of the voting, but I just sent that to you. So we are going to dive into our reaction to the first round of All-Star voting. And I'll take this one first. The craziest thing to me was Alfred Sengun had more votes than Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama.
I think he has a country behind
him. Fan vote. This is all hot. Victor got another country behind him. Just like we saw Aaron Wiggins with the K5. I thought, Victor, I thought that was very surprising.
Klay Thompson's on this list.
Yeah, so I mean, another thing that really jammed my Glock was De'Aaron Fox being the eighth best point guard on this list, the guard. So I get it. Luka, Shea, Steph, got it. James Harden not playing better than Fox.
LaMelo's on here.
Not playing about Fox, and John Morant isn't even playing enough games to qualify. So how did he get more votes? De'Aaron Fox is being very, very, very disrespected in these All-Star votes, and I want to come on here and make sure that I let everybody know that he deserves a lot more votes. So Sacramento, we're going to have to rally together. He's from Texas. Let's get some Houston love. We have to figure it out because this is ridiculous. he should be in there. And Uncle Manny, I agree. They're messing with him. How about?
I don't think it even comes down to fans. Like I feel like fans like have a little bit of a say, but it really kind of comes down to coach.
Well, fans pick the starting five. I'm not saying he's going to be a starter, but he better be a reserve because John Morant hasn't played enough games. Anthony Edwards, I'm still taking De'Aaron Fox. James Harden, I'm taking De'Aaron Fox. So, and then another thing on here that really surprised me was Mikal Bridges. Like how you mentioned, had him on his first-time All-Star list. I didn't think Mikal Bridges would be that high. Yeah. He's getting a lot of votes, so it's going to be interesting to see. So, Toddy, I'm going to bring it to you next. What were your reactions to the first round of NBA All-Star voting?
I mean, like LaMelo Ball's on here, and he's been hurt since how long? Did you see that? Like a fan traveled from like Australia all the way to a game. I traveled all the way to come see LaMelo Ball. He's not playing. I'm like, well, bud, he's been out for like the past month. So that's on you.
That's on you.
That's on you, big dog. So, no, Jimmy Butler's on this list. He's kind of been in and out of the lineup. Like we were kind of mentioning, like Sengun's on this list. Wemby, they got countries behind them voting, so that might play a role into it. For the most part, this list, some of it absolutely doesn't make any sense because Ja's. I feel like when Ja is playing, he's definitely an all-star, but currently, the situation that he's in, with the 25-game suspension, I don't think he meets the criteria for everybody else. So just seeing a couple of guys on here that are hurt and not really playing and still on here, kind of like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't know you could still be. That's why, it's fan voting. So how much does it really play a role into it? It probably factors into it some, but
not much.
I mean, like Klay Thompson on this list, like, what are we doing here?
Another thing that really shocked me was there are 9 players on this list with 1 million votes. Yeah. I don't think I'd ever consider Tyrese Halliburton to be one of those guys. Yeah. This season tournament this year has really put Tyrese Halliburton on the map. And like Toddy says, I love this quote. If you didn't know Tyrese Halliburton, you don't know ball. Yeah. But to see him be the leading Eastern Conference guard is great.
That's what I'm saying, man. He might be a starter. Just the way that he's playing is.
Did you pick him as a starter for last time we were on the pod, or who did you pick?
I have it in my notes. I don't think I picked him as a starter. I think I said Dame.
I did say Dame, and I took him over.
I was like, Dame would be a starter, but because of the politics, because this is stats over politics. I think I had Dame in there, but it was like he's not going to get it. Yeah. I had Dame, Maxey, and Halliburton. It was like those were like the 3 top guys. But I said Dame is probably going to get it.
All right. So I wanted to add a new mix to the show for the NBA only episodes. So we're going to do a first stats over politics NBA power ranking. So Toddy, we're going to start with you first. I want 10 to 5 first. So give me from number 10 to number 5.
So it's kind of fucked up now because people lost tonight, so it's so it's like what can I do now? But you said top 10 teams from 10 to 5.
Top, so give me 10 to 5.
Okay, 10. Here we go. We're gonna lock in. It's tough, man, because like. Number 10, man, it's kind of – I'm going to say the Orlando Magic. I think Orlando's been playing very solid lately. They've been a pretty good team. Paulo's been playing out of his ass. Yeah, man. I think the Magic are a very solid team. I don't know if they'll be like a top 6 seed, but I do think they'll make the playoffs. So whether that's they have to play a play-in game to get in, and we might see a repeat of, when Patrick Beverley was throwing his shirt into the stands. Not sure if we'll see that again, but I have Orlando at 10. Going to 9, we're going to stay in the Eastern Conference. I'm gonna say the Indiana Pacers. Like we said, Tyrese Halliburton's been playing out of his ass, multiple 20 assist games, which is insane. And you're getting great shooting. They're putting up 150 on people. Like it's what can we do, man? So um, I'm gonna say the Pacers are gonna be the ninth team. I'm staying in the East again. Eighth, I'm gonna say the New York Knicks. I think since the acquisition of OG Anunoby, they're 3-0 since they acquired him. Jalen Brunson is probably going to be a first-time All-Star. People need to stop sleeping on Julius Randle because I think Julius Randle is playing at an All-Star caliber level as well. Said that even about him last year. But I feel like with those three guys, if they can get more consistency from all three of those guys, Randall didn't play that well tonight, but if they can get those guys playing at a consistent level, then I believe that they can, contend in the East. Maybe even get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So where am I at? That's 8. So 7. 7, I'm gonna go. This one was kind of a toss up though. 7. I'm gonna put the Clippers in here. 7. Clippers on a 5-game win streak. Kawhi Leonard, PG. Everybody's saying these guys can't play together. They can't. They can't play. Consistently be on the floor together, and adding James Harden to this mix only makes them better, in my opinion. Just being able to see these guys consistently play. We saw them kind of go on this losing streak, and announcers are clowning them left and right, saying James Harden, the problem everywhere that he goes. But they just needed some time together to kind of gel and figure out who's going to be what and how will this team be at their best. And I feel like we can all agree when Kawhi's, the team plays through Kawhi and everybody else kind of just falls in line, they'll probably be one of the scarier teams in the Western Conference. So I'm gonna put the Clippers in there at what we have them at 7. So I'm gonna put the Kings in here. Put the Kings here at 6. De'Aaron Fox, MVP caliber season. Domantas Sabonis, absolute double-double machine. I think he's on I don't know what his streak is now, where he had it was 13, 14, 15. He had 14 double-doubles in a row. He's been playing out of his ass. So, I'm gonna put the Kings in there at 6. I think they just need to figure out a little bit more inconsistencies where they want to do in the trade deadline. We saw that those three names that we mentioned earlier, Barnes, Herter, and Mitchell, all kind of being on the trade block. So we'll see where those guys will be at the end of the day. But I'm going to put the Kings at where are we at? 6. So 5. I'm going to say the Sixers. Now they just came off of a loss tonight, but I do think Maxey and Embiid, that duo is, those are 2 all-stars, one of the top players in the Eastern Conference, just based off of how well those guys have been playing. So took an L tonight, but I think that, the Sixers, if and when they do make a trade for another guy, they can definitely be, in that top 4 or 5 teams in the league. But I'm gonna say the Sixers are in there at 5. So, so that's my top
10 to 5.
10. That's my 10 to 5 right there.
We have a very similar bottom half. So at 10, I had the Pacers. Like Ty said, Tyrese Halliburton show in-season tournament really coming alive and just really showing that Tyrese Halliburton can really go. We saw when he was in Sacramento when De'Aaron Fox was down, he was averaging double-doubles out his ass. And like Toddy mentioned, his last 10 games, averaging 14, 15 plus assists. So I think they have to be in there at 10. At 9, I have the Orlando Magic, like Patty mentioned. They've kind of slowed down a little bit. They're not healthy right now, so that's why they're kind of lower on my list. But I definitely think they're a team that can still really compete in the Eastern Conference. Okay, and this is where it gets tricky because at 7, I have the Clippers.
Okay.
They've been playing really hot right now, but what we saw the first 10 games, and they were 3-7. They got a lot of bumps and bruises, but they're kind of coming out of it right now. So they might not be at 7 next week, but right now I have them at 7. At 6, I have the Sacramento Kings. De'Aaron Fox playing at MVP level. We're seeing Malik Monk. We've seen the consistency with Domantas Sabonis. Keegan Murray went off for a career high with 44 points. So the Kings are really gelling right now. They can make a trade and really kind of bump themselves in. They're so low on my list just because, like Toddy mentioned when we first talked about the Kings earlier in the show, they were just giving away a game they shouldn't have lost. They shouldn't lose the 2 games to Houston. They shouldn't lose games to A, B, C, and D. So that's why I have them at 6. And at 5, I have the 76ers. Joel Embiid, arguably going on his best career season, back-to-back MVPs. Tyrese Maxey really showing that. James Harden taught him a lot. He's stepping in. We talked about him being a first-time All-Star. They arguably both can be starters on the Eastern Conference team, so you can't put them not in this top. So, Toddy, give me your number 4 team. So we'll go team for team.
4, I have the Bucks at 4.
Okay. So at my 4, I have the Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
Jamal Murray's been hurt, so we've kind of been seeing Joker having to step up into another role, but I think they'll be able to climb their way back into that top 3, arguably once Jamal Murray kind of gets back and healthy and going, but I have them at 4. So who do you have at 3?
3 out of the Nuggets.
Okay. So we have our 3s and 4s flopped. I have the – oh, no, excuse me. I have the Thunder at 4. I have the Thunder at 4, and I have the Nuggets at 3.
Yeah, I had the. So where I'm at? Oh, I just gave you my 3rd or my 2nd.
You give me your 4th, so now give me your 3rd. So my
your 3rd. So yeah, I had OKC 3rd.
Okay, see, so my 3rd is the Bucks.
Okay, yeah.
So who's your 2?
2.
This is where it gets tricky.
Kind of went back and forth.
Because I know you ain't been seeds yet, so we know who got you. You got the 1.
The Bucks at 2.
Did you not see the Timberwolves?
Yeah, I don't think I said the Timberwolves. No, yeah, they've been they got smacked. They've been like the best.
Gonna like this.
They've been like the best fake good team in the league. I love Anthony Edwards. No, I feel like I missed him somewhere. If I probably redid my list, kind of like when Kevin was like, "Damn," when we were doing our playoff list, like I forgot to put Indiana in there. So I feel like I probably messed up somewhere. Could have put the Timberwolves in there and squeeze them in somewhere. Probably next week I'll probably have them in. But this is our first one, guys. So we'll get all the nicks and crannies out. But yeah, best team in the league is the Celtics still. I get they lost to OKC, who I do have second on this list, but OKC just lost to Brooklyn on the road tonight. So a lot kind of goes into the list, but damn, I feel like somebody has to be left out off of this list.
And then my number 2 is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Wesley, I showed you love. I believe you guys are the technically best team in the NBA, and like Toddy said, there's no debate. The number 1 team in the NBA is the Boston Celtics. So, Toddy, can you go through your one more time for us?
All right, so 10 I had Freak. I had 10 I had.
So 10 you had the Magic.
I did have the Magic. Then I had the Pacers. Had got Magic, Pacers, Knicks. Had was it the Clippers, Kings, Sixers, Bucks, Nuggets, Thunder,
and then
Celtics. Yeah, I feel like I gotta. Yeah, somebody's got to be left off.
Yeah, so it's going to change next week for sure. But my 1 through 10 out of the Boston Celtics at 1, out of the Timberwolves at 2, the Bucks at 3, Thunder at 4, Nuggets at 5, Kings at 6, Clippers at 7, Magic at 8. No, Magic at 9, and then Pacers at 10.
Yeah.
So we have the last topic. I know if you guys have been staying in for this long, this is where it really gets juicy. Factor cap. And we kind of sprinkled this in earlier in the show when we talked about this man from Houston. But Toddy, it's time to put the stats on the screen. Factor cap. Cam Thomas is better than Jalen Green.
No, he's not. He's not better than JG. We have to remember is like 22.
So let me tell you this. So Cam Thomas is averaging 21, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Jalen Green's averaging 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists.
Yes, his numbers are better. They are. I'm just going off of the standpoint that Jalen Green is like 21, 22, however old he is.
Shaun says
I think Jalen Green can be multiple-time All-Star, superstar in this league. Empty stats, as Shaun is saying. This is the same guy that said that Austin Reeves is better than Jalen Green. So I don't think anybody in the besides guys out of LA probably will think that. But I think with just it's tough because JG is just so young and he's trying to thrive with all these new pieces that are being added to his team, new coach. So he's trying to get acclimated to the system. Cam Thomas is just a guy like he's going to roll out the ball and go score. He's just a pure scorer. He's going to figure out a way to get a bucket. However, if, ands, or buts, I don't think he's a guy that you build your franchise around. But I feel like, with Jalen Green on the other side, the emergence of Alperen Sengun is definitely, playing a role into maybe Jalen Green's numbers a little bit. And, the acquisition of Fred VanVleet, him getting all the numbers, Dylan Brooks. So those guys are probably, I guess hurting his numbers. Wherein Cam Thomas, he's kind of just, the spark plug for that team. And I feel like the roles are definitely different. So Cam is kind of just asked to kind of go out and like, hey, we just need you to basically score. And Mikal Bridges is kind of the guy of the team. With the Rockets, I feel like, like I've already mentioned, Alperen Sengun is kind of the guy that's been like, he's been the leading force for this Rockets team. But at the same time, there's, Jalen Green, who was picked second overall, and he was kind of picked to be the guy. So he's kind of going back to my theory about letting guys bake in the oven a little bit. I think, him being as so young that he is coming into the league at 18 is a lot. And so, people want guys to, it kind of goes back to even if you guys watch the show, my quarterback theory, they expect guys to be Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady and Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts kind of right off the bat. Not really giving them a chance to kind of bake. Now, with the NBA, it's a little bit different. Guys are coming into the league way younger at 18 years old with the one and done rule. So they're expecting these guys to be, superstars by year 2, all-stars, all NBAs at, 21 years old. So, a lot of, you can't even drink until you're 21. So it's like, how am I supposed to be the leader of a franchise at so young of an age? So I'm going to say this is Cap. I think Jalen Green is better than Cam Thomas.
Well, Shaun Holcomb, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking forward to hearing Kevin's argument for fact. And like Uncle Manny said, he will pull out the stats, ladies and gentlemen, and that I will. Factor cap, Cam Thomas is better than Jalen Green. This is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I know everyone's caught up in the hype, the G League Ignite, the number 2 overall pick, and A, B, C, and D. Arguably, these guys are both nothing but buckets. They don't do nothing on the defensive end. Jalen Green has arguably been demoted to the third option. So let me give you the stats. Cam Thomas having 21 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. He's shooting 43% from the field, 36 from 3 in 24 minutes. Jalen Green, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 35% from 3, 40% from the field goal, and 30 minutes. So he not only plays more than Cam Thomas, he also starts. So you put Cam Thomas in that role, the numbers will speak for you. Cam Thomas is arguably it's not even a debate. This is a fact. He is better than Jalen Green. Jalen Green has the hype. He has the name. Like Shaun mentioned, prolific preps finest. He has all the hype. He has all the names. He has the YouTube doc series. He has the Amazon G League series. It's all there. He's the bigger name. This is called stats over politics, ladies and gentlemen. The numbers don't lie. Toddy's politicking because Jalen Green has the name. I get it. Cam Thomas is playing better than Jalen Green. If you're denying it, it's because you're like Toddy and you're looking at the two names. When you see Cam Thomas and Jalen Green, you're going to go Jalen Green. But I, like Uncle Manny says, will pull out the stats and deep dive into that. Cam Thomas is shooting better from the field. He's shooting better from three, and he doesn't play as many minutes as Jalen Green. So you switch them positions and you switch this opportunity and give him the minutes that Jalen Green gets. Jalen Green shoots 5 more shots than Cam Thomas, and that says a lot. Because Cam Thomas gets them motherfuckers up. But
Cam is a year older than Jalen.
Shaun has been convinced. It is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. Cam Thomas is better than Jalen Green. And I was waiting. I wanted to do this last week. Couldn't come on the pod last week, so now we got to do it. But I think it's obvious, Toddy. Do you have anything to say to my rebuttal?
I mean, yeah, you're those are solid numbers. I think Cam Thomas's role is different than Jalen Green's. Like I said, he's a guy they need him to come off of the bench and score. Nothing else. I feel like Jalen Green is.
What else does Jalen Green bring to the table besides scoring?
Jalen Green is kind of a cornerstone piece for that Rockets franchise. I don't know if Cam Thomas is a cornerstone piece for a franchise. He's more of a guy that's going to come off the bench and score for you. Versus Jalen Green is the face of the Rockets franchise, like the future for the Rockets franchise. So I feel like those roles are different. Obviously, his numbers are better. Cam Thomas, you already pointed out all of his numbers are better. Is he a better player than Jalen Green? I'm not going to go as far as to say that he is. So I'm going to say this is Cap. I'm looking at potential upside for the two, out of the two, and I think Jalen Green's upside is way higher than Cam Thomas's.
All right. And that concludes episode 72 of Stats Over Politics. Toddy, do you have any closing topics or anything that you want to say before they see us on Monday after of the NFL?
Hotline's 0-1, so we need a little bit more. National championships on Monday, so got the Huskies in that one. Tomorrow we got CJ Stroud. If he wins tomorrow, the famous factor Kappa is CJ Stroud. He becomes a top 8 quarterback tomorrow. They make the playoffs.
Wait for it.
So a lot brewing over this weekend. So Kev's praying that the Eagles don't lose again.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if we did. No one's gonna play. It doesn't matter. I mean, we play a later game than the Cowboys, so if the Cowboys win, it doesn't really matter. But I will be here on Monday, so no matter what the outcome is, I will be here, standing 10 toes down. We always talk about the recap, so I wanted to give you a little bit of insight. So, the Eagles have lost 4 out of their last 5. In 2012, the Baltimore Ravens lost 4 out of their last 5. And won a Super Bowl. So there is hope. I will believe. And yes, I know a lot of you guys can't be saying real football don't start till the second week of the playoffs. And that is true. Eagles are going to find a way to get through the Broncos, not the Broncos, the Bucs, the Saints. And then we're coming back, Uncle Manny. Coming back to Jerry's world. We're going to see what's up. So we'll see you guys on Monday at all of the national championship. Like how he said it. Let's get the football dog pound. Michael Pennick. Gotta go out there and take it. That's episode 72. That's Politics. My name is Kevin Dent. My man Jaevon. We want to thank you guys for sitting here and watching this. Like I said, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are everywhere that you guys are at. We're on X, Instagram, YouTube, etc. So please give us a like, subscribe, all that. We are nothing without you guys. And I speak for the whole group. And we appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys Monday night, all of the night. Have a great night and a great weekend. And remember, go Birds.